Once again, a very, very warm welcome to all of you who are watching Awaken to the Yoga series with me, and we have with us a lovely, wonderful yoga teacher and a beautiful soul, Deepa Bhat. So, welcome, Deepa, to this lovely discussion.
Hi Ash, lovely to be again with you. This is our third video,
Yes.
and I'm enjoying our discussion so far.
And so am I, and I was so looking forward for this one because, as you said, it's the third video and it's the second part of the 8 limbs of yoga, which were given to us by Maharishi Patanjali. And in today's section, as you are aware, and as we all are aware, we are going to talk about niyamas, and I'm so curious to know what exactly niyamas are because yes, of course, Deepa introduced all of this to us, but now we are going to go a little bit in detail. So, Deepa,
In
I can't
detail,
wait.
yes.
I can't wait. So, please tell us what niyamas are, and over to you, Deepa.
Thanks, Ash. So I think so. Niyama, being the second limb of Ashtanga Yoga, literally means discipline or observances. But niyamas have to be looked in the light of yamas also because they're all
Mm-hmm.
connected. Yamas and niyamas are interconnected. If you follow certain yamas and certain niyamas naturally happen.
Right.
And we'll go through that. We will discuss that in our chat now. So let's talk about the first niyama,
Sure.
of certain observances or certain disciplines that we have to follow for an effective practice, not
Mm-hmm.
just in yoga but in life. And the first niyama is saucha, which means cleanliness.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that everyone will relate to because everybody likes to be clean.
Yes.
And from the yogic perspective, we are talking about not just physical cleanliness,
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about mental cleanliness and dietary cleanliness. So, clean body, clean mind, and clean diet. Because all of these impact each other. So
Right.
like we discussed before, all these niyamas have different layers of meaning, and we are just trying to uncover a few of them, in our
Of course.
discussion. So what struck me, Ash, was if you're looking at, let's talk about saucha from a physical perspective.
Right.
This is something that is people will understand also because when, like for example, when we were doing our teachers training course,
Mm-hmm.
we were always advised that try and come for your first class in the day for meditation, and for your first class try coming with a shower, because that's going to help you cleanse your the old vibrations of the previous
Wow.
day, because we are constantly picking on vibrations from the
Of
outside.
course. Of course.
You're constantly picking on different energy, different vibrations from the outside. So just clearing that off with a nice shower is wonderful to start off with. And this is something that always stayed with me. And as much as possible, I try to do my yoga practice after a very simple, very quick shower, but just to kind of cleanse my body. And this is something that I feel it'll really make a difference to our physical practice of yoga.
Absolutely.
Um, Yes, and that was one thing about a physical practice. But in terms of a clean mind as well, I relate to this a lot more because even though the body might be clean and we might be very fresh, if the mind is cluttered, if the mind is pulled down with a lot of different thoughts, then that also kind of impacts your practice, right? And here I
Totally.
feel that yes, so decluttering the mind will go a long way in decluttering and cleansing the mental vibrations that are going on in our head. And I think you had something to share as well. You were
Yes.
mentioning something to me about
Yes. So
decluttering the mind.
So two things I wanted to talk about. So this thing is so amazing because as energy healers, as Reiki practitioners, as Reiki masters, we always make sure that after every client and before every client, our energy is clean. So
Mm,
mostly, if I have a client, after the client is done, I take a shower. And if there are two clients and there is some time in between, I at least make sure, of course, we practice washing of our hands or dipping our
Yeah.
hands in salt water. And of course, if I get time, I do shower because I always believe that we carry, as you said, a lot of energy. So I always consider it a good practice. And just as I told you, when we had this shoot lined up today, I was with a client. I was doing someone's healing over a Zoom call. And after that was done, I quickly showered, I cleansed my energy, and then I could meet you because we always we always want to keep our auras clean. So, this
Yeah.
principle absolutely works. And we always tell as a part of Reiki practice to make sure you wash your hands after every client, at least wash your
Yes.
hands after every client. And
Yes.
so, when you talk about clean body, this is one thing which I wanted to talk. And the other thing, because you just mentioned decluttering, and I just I was like, okay, so here she's talking about decluttering. And I don't know if you're aware about this, but at Unicorn Insight, we run a decluttering workshop where we ask people to
Amazing.
not just declutter their wardrobes and their clothes and their houses and their cars, but we also ask them to declutter their Facebook accounts, their WhatsApp
Beautiful.
chats,
Amazing.
and make sure that you are not part of any groups which are redundant where there is no communication. You are not part of
Yes.
relationships which are redundant. You are not
Amazing.
using, keep your inbox clean, keep your Facebook
Yes.
list clean, keep your Facebook inbox clean. So, if you see these 8 limbs of yoga which were given eons ago, centuries ago,
Like
even in
thousands of
today's,
years ago. Yeah.
yes,
At least
even in
2000, if not more.
Yes, and even if today, in today's world, if we are someone who's running with technology and everything is just a click away, it's so important to understand that we can declutter our social media too.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
it's just coming together,
Spot
and I'm
on.
so
It's
amazed
coming to.
by how beautiful it is.
And as you know, when you talk about decluttering the various accounts, I
Yeah,
think decluttering is a very important part of saucha, because
yeah,
this is connected to the yama
yeah.
aparigraha. Because if you're
Hmm.
constantly acquiring things, if you're constantly trying to acquire more friends,
Correct,
more
correct,
likes, more
correct.
clothes, more shoes, more bags, what
Yes,
happens is your mental space is completely filled up with all of, okay, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to take care of this, take care of that, and that's not doesn't bring you any clarity. And the ultimate
absolutely.
aim and the ultimate aim of any yoga practice or any spiritual practice is to bring clarity to the mind, to the body, you know.
Totally agree.
So
Yes, yes.
Saucha is all about that. It's about bringing the clarity. And we talked about diet, and I think
Yes.
here we also mentioned that a clean diet is useful in maintaining saucha, is because
Correct.
if you eat food that is simpler,
Yeah.
simply cooked food, less preservatives, less additives, then your body will not need that much energy to digest that.
Hmm.
Whereas if
Hmm.
you eat processed food and frozen foods and all of that, great, it tastes amazing, ready to cook meals, but they're not clean. They're full of stuff
Absolutely.
that your body needs to process.
And I've experienced this because I have been, let me say, I was a fan of instant soups, instant meals, but later I came to know my body started rejecting them. And now for me, to make a quick soup, I just boil vegetables and just have the soup, and that is much easier for my body to digest. And plus there
Much
are no
more.
chemicals, there are no there are no preservatives, and it is easy on my stomach, it is easy on my body. And in today's world where we talk about instant food, where people are so hooked on to instant food, I think this is so important for us to look
Very
at.
important to remember.
Yes. So
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
point. And yes, I'm definitely noting this as a part of, because I feel that all that I have learned through maybe energy healings, teachings, and all of this, it's coming together with what we are discussing in
With what in
with 8 limbs of yoga.
yamas and
So
niyamas.
it's beautiful. Thank you for that.
Yes. Pleasure. Let's move on to the next limb,
Sure.
which is santosha. This is second niyama. Sorry, not the next limb. The second part of
Part of the limb.
the
Yes,
second limb.
yes, yes, yes.
Second part of the second limb. And santosha means contentment from their point of view, from Maharishi Patanjali's point of view. And again, I feel my personal take on it is it connects with the yamas of truthfulness and aparigraha, the
Mm-hmm.
non-covetousness.
Mm-hmm.
So if you live your truth and you're not hell bent on acquiring stuff, then
Right.
you will be at a space where you will be more content in life, because you're living your own truth,
Yes.
and you have less to worry about. You have less to run after. You're content with what you've created for yourself. So I think, like I said, yamas practiced efficiently will naturally help you observe niyamas in a better way. And I feel we have to look at santosha on and off the mat also. One thing that we have to look at is on the mat. Let's talk about on the mat. When I'm teaching, there are many students who, when they start their practice, they're constantly distracted. They're constantly looking around. Who's practicing? What are they doing? How well are they doing? How well am I doing? And it's great in a certain sense. It's good because that keeps them engaged, and there is a will to do better. But beyond a certain point, what it does, it drags you down if you feel you're not able to cope up. So you have to be aware of that. So my suggestion would always be, whether you're doing a yoga on your mat or in your life, focus on your own practice. Focus on your practice. Observe your own achievements. Okay, today I was able to lift my hand all the way up and back, or I was able to touch my toes today, rather than looking at someone and saying, oh, they are doing a wonderful uttanasana with their palms all the way down. Oh, I'm able to do this today.
No
Last time I couldn't do
comparison.
it.
Yes.
No comparison. I compare to my previous self, and I notice the small uh, successes, and I'd be happy with that. I need to be happy with that, and I work from
Wow.
there. Not that I try to say, I'm content. I don't want to do more than that. It's not that, but it's more like, wow, my body can actually do this. Let us see what more my body can do. You know, so
Yes.
taking those
Yes.
steps in a nice way. So this is something that we remember in our practice, and we carry that off our mat as well in our life, where we give our best to our day-to-day situations of life,
Yes.
our
Yes.
best to any activity that we are taking, and when we operate from that space where you've given it your best shot, then you're content. The results will happen. Sometimes they
Wow.
are in your hands, sometimes they are not in your hands, right?
Yes. Yes. And
So,
Deepa, again
so I think,
connecting. Yeah. Sorry. Go on.
no, I was just saying, so it's like, bringing that element of gratefulness.
Yes.
And I think you will relate to that, because probably you
Yes.
want to share the same
So,
thing.
so Deepa, I'll tell you one very amazing thing. One of the modalities which I practice, which is access consciousness, in which we talk about no comparison, no competition, and where we've always learned about being versus doing. So in today's world where everyone wants to do something, and I was at a point in my life where I used to always ask my teacher, what do I need to do? What do I need to do to be better? How can I be a better healer, be a better teacher? And she said, you can just be a better teacher and a better healer by being you, because that is what you are, and you don't have to compare. You don't have, because we are so focused on
True.
improvement, right? And I think Santosha exactly talks about, yes, it's good to learn, it's good to grow, but not at the cost of always trying to say that where do I need to improve. It's somewhere also about self acceptance. And self
Correct.
acceptance is so important, because the moment you are, you know what you are, and you are just content with being you.
Absolutely.
That is
Yeah.
what your energy is. No chasing, no competition, just being there. And once you,
Just be you, and
yes,
yeah, be
yes,
in that
yes,
space.
yes. And as they
Yeah.
say, don't chase the butterfly, sit calmly so that the butterfly comes and sits on you. I think
Comes
is
and sits.
exactly the
True.
what the way the Santosha is spoken about.
Absolutely. Really well said. I really like the last analogy that you gave
Yeah,
about the
yeah.
butterfly. Yeah,
Wow.
it's very hard. It's hard to practice this, but it's very important part of
Yes.
the niyama.
It's,
And I think once you really set your mind into it, the santosha aspect will really open up a lot of things for you.
yes.
It's a game changer. Practicing contentment, practicing gratefulness is a game changer.
Wow, it's so beautiful, and I've actually noted this down in my journal as well. So Great.
um, and then let's move on to the third aspect of the niyama, which is called
Sure.
tapas. And tapas, we all know, we have seen a lot of mythological serials in India where they talk about tapasya, and some guy is standing on a mountain for
Tree
2000
pose.
years in a tree pose. And it has got that kind of a very austere kind of a connotation.
Yes.
But actually, tapasya means heat or a burning desire to accomplish something on a certain path. So it's a very important part of your practice, because without that passion or without that burning desire to do something, it'll just be a half-hearted attempt. So even
Absolutely.
something, yeah, even something like, you want to very passionately make a wonderful meal for a certain set of friends who are meeting you after a long time. So you have a nice menu planned and all those nice, dishes you want to prepare. You need a certain degree of discipline to be able to
Yes.
accomplish the whole thing, right? Like my grandmother, for example, cooking for 30 people on, for Ganesh Chaturthi.
Yes.
The amount of discipline you need for a good 2 3 days before that day and even after is, it's not a small task.
Of
So
course.
any activity that you take, you need that level of discipline, the ability to sacrifice small pleasures for to be able to achieve that main goal that you have in mind. So if that means like I need to sacrifice my Netflix episode of my favorite
Yes.
series for that yoga class, then I do so. Or there is a wonderful meal being prepared in the kitchen, I can smell it, and my stomach is rumbling, and I say, no, I need to finish my meditation, or I need to finish my assignment or my project,
Yes.
whatever it may be, and only then I will have it. That's also part of your tapas.
Of course.
So,
Yeah, and
so
Deepa, it is beautiful
hmm,
as you spoke about the Netflix and the food part of it, because this reminds me of, if my students who are watching here, they might be aware, in almost every class, in every workshop, I talk about self-discipline. And I always tell them, especially now when we have gone online, and we are not meeting in person, it becomes very important for everyone to understand self-discipline. And I always tell my students that knowing you want to do something and actually doing it, you just need self discipline as the thread in between. So there was one person who was interviewed. I was watching one of these. I watch a lot of these motivational videos, and there was this person who was interviewed, and he's very fit, and he said that then when he was asked, what do you do for fitness, he said, all of us know what we need to do to be fit, but I do what
how many do it?
how many do it, and I'm the one who does it. And it changed my perspective towards it. And I have been telling about this beautiful audiobook called The Neuropsychology of Self-Discipline. Because discipline,
Amazing.
so it's an
Mm-hmm.
audiobook on YouTube, and I think all of our viewers who are watching this video can just go and watch or listen to it. I love it. I've listened to it almost 3 4 times. I talk about it in my talks a lot. And Deepa, one thing I realized was discipline is taken as a very negative word, because
Yes.
for us discipline means a strict teacher standing with a food ruler in his or her hand, and telling the students stand in the queue and tie your shoelaces, and why is your shirt not clean. That is not a discipline which we are talking about, because I feel we want to do so many things in life, but how many things do we really do, and how many times do we have this approach, oh, let it be, I'll do it some other time.
Yes.
And when you really want to do something, do you really do? A lot of people who are self employed, who are watching us, I also tell you that if you're self employed and if you inculcate self discipline, your life will turn into heaven, because that is the only thing what will stop you from performing. So I'm actually connecting this beautiful tapasya or tapas to self discipline. And I see that if you're passionate about something, inculcate that discipline. And yes, to all of us who are listening here, please listen to the audiobook, The Neuropsychology of Self Discipline. You will thank me later for
Me
it.
too.
Yes, you'll
I'll
thank me
make a note
later.
of it as well.
Yes, it's
Yes,
on YouTube, so you
absolutely.
can listen to it as many times as you want. And beautifully explained, Deepa. I really liked the way you put this.
Yeah. I think it's important to understand these yamas and niyamas in a contemporary context,
Yes, yes.
because otherwise we will look at it from an ancient context. But if you cannot correlate to our day-to-day lives, they will just be there, you know,
They will be
as
there
theory,
as a
as a
scripture,
text.
and
Yes,
everyone
and
will
then,
think
you
it's
know,
something very big, woo woo mumbo
yeah,
jumbo. It's not like that. It's so
yeah,
much which we can connect to our day-to-day
it's very
practice.
practical,
Very
very
practical.
practical, and a lot of us are already following it to some degree. We're just
Yes.
trying to bring more context to it. That's
Yes,
all.
very much, very much.
Mhm. So I think tapas is also something that is one of also my favorite niyamas that I
So is mine.
something that I'm working on. Like I'm personally working on that
Yes,
aspect
yes.
also. I'm yet to get there.
So am I, and I
Um,
think we all are.
Absolutely, absolutely. Ash, so we have two more. Do we have enough time for the last two? We carry on
So
with the
so let me end this here. Okay, one sec.